My heart shattered when I saw the empty place at the table during a lavish dinner in Paris. But 30 minutes later, I wiped the smiles off their faces, destroying their perfect world with a single call. My name is Emily Grace Harper. 5 years ago, I was just Emily Grace, the daughter of school teachers from a Boston suburb who built Starlight Events, the top event planning company in Boston, from nothing. I clawed my way up, earning a business school scholarship through sleepless nights and sheer grit. My parents were proud, but their modest home in Medford was worlds away from the Boston elite I'd soon enter. Every grand gala, every flawless corporate party, every high society wedding in Boston bore my signature. I was a master of the impossible, crafting magic with absolute discretion. That's how I met Ethan Westbrook. It all started at a charity gala at the Ritz-Carlton, organized for Boston Children's Hospital. I was checking final details. Cascades of white orchids draped from the ceiling, candles flickered on tables, a string quartet played Chopin. Ethan approached me, tall, with dark hair and a smile that made my heart skip a beat. "So, you're the sorceress who created this masterpiece?" he asked, gesturing to the room glowing under crystal chandeliers. "My mother's looking for an organizer for her next event. Looks like I've found the best one." His voice was warm, with a hint of playful teasing, but his eyes were sincere. We got to talking. He shared stories about his work at the family investment firm, his love for sailing off Cape Cod. I told him how I saved a senator's wedding in 3 days after another planner flopped. He laughed, and his laugh was so infectious that I felt a warmth in my chest. A week later, he invited me to dinner on the rooftop of his Back Bay penthouse. Under the stars, with Boston's lights twinkling below, he took my hand. "Emily, you're unlike anyone I've ever met. You're real." I believed him. Back then, I still believed. That's how I started working with the Westbrooks, Boston royalty whose wealth traced back to banking and real estate. Their money was old, understated, but palpable in every detail, from Ethan's perfectly tailored suits to the effortless grace with which they moved through the world. I became their go-to planner, orchestrating flawless events, anniversaries, charity balls, corporate galas. But soon, Ethan began pursuing me with the same determination he brought to managing the family fund. There were red flags, of course. His mother, Margaret, greeted me with icy disdain when Ethan introduced me as his girlfriend. At a dinner in their Back Bay mansion, she said with a razor-sharp smile, "Self-made success is so charming, Emily. Such an American trait." Her words cut like glass, but I brushed them off because I was falling for Ethan. He seemed different, open, not obsessed with status. When he proposed 11 months later at sunset on Cape Cod, kneeling with a diamond-encrusted ring, I said yes, silencing the inner voice warning me that their world would never accept me. Our wedding was the event of the year. I planned it myself, trusting no one else. The Boston Harbor Hotel's ballroom was adorned with hundreds of candles and live roses. The menu featured oysters, truffles, and Krug champagne. A string orchestra played Bach, and the guests, Boston's elite, whispered about the fairy tale wedding. Margaret meddled in everything. The venue was too modern, the menu too bold, the guest list incomplete without key society figures. I compromised where I could, but held firm on what mattered. Ethan tried to mediate, but he never challenged his mother directly. "She just wants the best," he'd say, kissing my forehead. I believed him. Back then, I still believed. After the wedding, the subtle torment began. The Westbrooks used Starlight Events for their functions but undermined my decisions. They changed plans last minute, claimed my ideas as their own. At family dinners, my words were met with polite smiles before being dismissed. My business, built through years of sacrifice, was called a cute hobby. "Emily's so good at these little things," Margaret would say, patting my hand like I was a child. Ethan didn't defend me. "Mom's just like that. Don't take it personally," he'd say, shrugging. But it was personal, and it only got worse. At one of their galas, which I'd orchestrated to perfection, Margaret introduced me to guests as our assistant, despite everyone knowing I'd created the event. The sting of humiliation burned, but I swallowed it. At a family dinner, a guest asked, "Emily, what's it like to marry someone like Ethan?" Before I could answer, Ethan's sister Caitlin laughed. "Oh, she's just thrilled to be part of our family. Not every day a girl from the suburbs gets so lucky." The table erupted in laughter and my face burned. Ethan squeezed my hand under the table but said nothing. A week before the Paris trip, my friend Lisa, who worked in Boston high society, called me. "Emily, I've heard rumors," she said, her voice trembling with concern. "They say Lauren Carter's back in town, and the Westbrooks, they're planning something. Financial troubles, whispers of a divorce. Be careful." I thanked her, but my stomach churned. Lauren was Ethan's college ex, the one his family always deemed the perfect match. The chance to plan Margaret's 70th birthday in Paris was supposed to be my triumph. A week of celebrations, culminating in a dinner at Le Cinq, with a view of the Eiffel Tower sparkling at night. I poured my soul into it, leveraging every contact, negotiating with Paris's top florists, curating a 7-course menu with the chef, renting a chateau in the Loire Valley for the final weekend, arranging a private Louvre tour and a Seine River cruise. But cracks in the Westbrook facade began to show. Payments for bookings were delayed. Vendors called with questions. Ethan brushed it off. "Our accountant's just being cautious with international transfers." But I'd seen documents left open on his laptop, failing investments, mortgaged mansions, drained credit lines. Their empire was crumbling. I kept planning, using Starlight Events' credit line to cover deposits, convincing myself Ethan would explain after the Jubilee. But the morning before our Paris flight, everything changed. Ethan was in the shower when I noticed his briefcase, carelessly tossed on a chair. An envelope slipped out. I never snooped, but something compelled me to pick it up. The letter was from Lauren Carter. "Ethan, I can't wait forever. Tell her about us, our future, our baby. Paris will be the perfect moment." My heart stopped. A baby? I unlocked his phone. Months of texts, plans, promises. Their child was due in 4 months. I screenshotted everything, sent them to myself, and erased my tracks. Then I plastered on a smile and boarded the plane with Ethan and his family, Margaret and William, Caitlin with her husband Grant, Jacob with his wife Sophia, and 2 sets of aunts and uncles. In Paris, standing outside Le Bristol Paris, I watched the Westbrooks step out of the black limousines I'd arranged. Avenue Montaigne gleamed in the morning sun, boutique windows sparkling, the air thick with the scent of fresh croissants. Margaret, in a silk Dior dress and Chanel sunglasses, tossed out, "I asked for hotel cars, Emily. These are too ordinary." I swallowed the insult, as I had countless times. At the hotel, I'd arranged everything. Krug champagne in a private lounge, suites overlooking the Tuileries garden, baskets of truffles, cheeses, and Chateau Margaux bottles. Personalized itineraries for each family member sat on marble side tables. Margaret waved hers away. "We'll manage ourselves. Paris is familiar to us." Ethan was distant, constantly whispering on his phone. "Work," he'd mutter, avoiding my eyes. At the welcome dinner in a cozy Marais brasserie, where antique mirrors lined the walls and candlelight danced in wine glasses, I was seated at the table's edge. Jokes and memories of past family trips to Paris, ones I wasn't part of, flowed freely. When I tried to discuss the week's plans, Caitlin cut me off. "Oh, we decided on a family shopping spree on the Champs-Élysées instead of the Louvre tour." "You'd be bored, Emily. Check on your little flowers for the dinner." The exclusion continued. The next day, I arrived at the Louvre for the private tour I'd organized. Marble halls, Rembrandt paintings, and Greek statues surrounded me. But the guide informed me, "Madame, they asked to start without you. They said you were busy." I stood before the Mona Lisa, feeling invisible. Caitlin tossed over her shoulder. "Oh, Emily, you're here? We thought you were handling your errands." I wandered the galleries alone, my footsteps echoing, the weight of my isolation growing. On the third day, I overheard William and Jacob in the hotel bar. William spoke low, but I caught it. "We sold the Nantucket estate. If the SEC finds out about the offshore accounts, we're done." Jacob replied, "Emily won't suspect a thing. After the dinner, it's over." My hands trembled, but I forced myself to breathe. On the fourth day, I ran into Lauren at a cafe on Rue de Rivoli. She sat at a window table, her hand resting on a barely noticeable bump, a diamond ring glinting on her finger. "Emily, what a surprise," she said with a venomous smile. "Hope you're enjoying Paris. It's your last time with the Westbrooks, right?" I clenched my fists under the table. "Enjoy your coffee, Lauren, and be careful with the promises they make you." She leaned closer, her voice dripping with malice. "Oh, Emily, you're so naive. Ethan always comes back to me. You were just a temporary project." I stood, holding my composure. "Projects end, Lauren." "I don't." That night, I found Ethan's journal hidden in his suitcase. The entries were short but devastating. "Lauren's right. It's time to end it. Mom wants to announce in Paris. Emily can't suspect anything. I loved her, but family comes first. She was never one of us." The words burned, but instead of tears, rage ignited inside me. On the fifth day, I overheard Caitlin and Margaret in the hotel lobby. Caitlin hissed, "She's from the working class, Mom. No pedigree. How could Ethan marry her?" Margaret replied, "It'll be over soon, darling. We've arranged everything." I slipped away, humiliation searing through me. I decided to act. I didn't make a scene but began documenting everything. Bank statements with offshore accounts, emails about asset liquidation, a note from Margaret. "Once Emily's out, Lauren will join the family." I kept planning the Jubilee, hiding my pain behind a professional mask. When the florist reported a delivery glitch, I personally secured peonies from Provence overnight, saving the dinner. My reputation in Paris was impeccable, and I wielded it. The morning of the Jubilee, I overheard Margaret at the concierge desk. 12 seats, not 13. I sent the new seating plan. Emily won't stay for dinner. Family business, you understand." My blood ran cold. The missing seat wasn't a mistake. It was their plan to humiliate me publicly. That evening, I caught Ethan in our suite. He was adjusting his tie, his face tense. "Emily, you ready?" he asked, avoiding my eyes. I couldn't hold back. "Why, Ethan? Why didn't you tell me about Lauren? About the baby." I threw the journal on the table. His face paled. "What are you?" "Don't lie," I shouted. "You planned to dump me in front of everyone. Was this your plan from the start?" He grabbed my arm. "Emily, it's not what you think." "I was going to explain after dinner." "Explain? You lied to me for years. You and your family wanted to destroy me." "It's not just my decision," he snapped. "Mom thinks you don't belong. And Lauren, she's always been their choice." "You're pathetic, Ethan," I said, yanking my arm free. "I gave you everything, and you chose them." He stepped closer, his voice softening. "Emily, I loved you, but family, they always win." "Not this time," I replied, resolve flooding me. I slipped into a Givenchy gown, deep emerald, accentuating my strength. In the mirror, I saw not a broken wife, but a woman ready to fight back. In the hotel lobby, Caitlin cornered me. "Emily, don't try to be one of us," she sneered. "You'll never fit in." "I don't want to fit in, Caitlin," I shot back, locking eyes with her. "I want to be me." At Le Cinq, I arrived an hour early. The terrace glowed. Crystal glasses caught the light. White peony bouquets perfumed the air. The 7-course menu was flawless, the cake a confectionery masterpiece. The Eiffel Tower sparkled outside, a mocking contrast to my loneliness. I checked every detail, demanding perfection. We rode the elevator to the terrace. Ethan placed a hand on my back, a gesture once tender, now hollow. I approached the table where my seat should have been. Nothing. No chair, no place setting, no name card. The family sat, avoiding my gaze. Margaret feigned surprise. "Oh, what a mistake, Emily. We must have miscounted." Ethan smirked. "Oops, looks like we miscalculated." Laughter rippled around the table, sharp and venomous. I stood tall, rage burning away my pain. "Guess I'm not family," I said, my voice cold as steel. Their smiles faltered. "But if I'm not family, your celebrations aren't my concern." Margaret narrowed her eyes. "Emily, don't make a scene. This is my day." "Oh, I'm not making a scene, Margaret," I said, staring her down. "You wanted to humiliate me. I'm rewriting the script." Ethan stood. "Emily, enough. We'll fix this." "Fix it," I laughed, my voice trembling with fury. "You lied to me, Ethan, about Lauren, the baby, your bankruptcy. I know everything, the offshore accounts, the debts, your divorce plan. I saw your journal. I saw the letters." William coughed. "Emily, this is a misunderstanding. Sit, we'll discuss." "No, William, I'm done with your games. You wanted a show? You've got one." I turned and walked out, denying them the satisfaction of my humiliation. At a cafe across the street, where the air smelled of fresh coffee and croissants, I ordered an espresso and opened my event management app. I had 30 minutes. I emailed vendors. Cancel the Seine cruise, the champagne tasting, the Louvre tour, the Loire Valley Chateau rental. Deposits paid by my company were refunded to my account. Ethan's phone blew up with texts. "Emily, where are you? This isn't funny. Come back." I didn't respond. 28 minutes later, I slipped back into Le Cinq through the service entrance. The maitre d', Jean-Pierre, met me. "Madame Harper, are you sure?" I handed him an envelope with proof of my authority and payment cancellations. "The Westbrooks will cover the dinner themselves." He nodded, knowing reputation is everything in the event world. From the shadows, I watched Jean-Pierre approach the table. William paled, pulling out his wallet. Margaret clutched her necklace, her face contorted. Caitlin whispered to Grant. Jacob frantically checked his phone. Ethan stared at his, fingers trembling. I texted him. All deposits refunded. Your financial mess goes public. Enjoy the caviar. Ethan called. Emily, what have you done? His voice shook with rage and fear. Looks like I'm not family, I replied. So your celebrations aren't my problem. You don't get what this means for us. Mom's furious. Dad's on the verge of a heart attack. You wanted to humiliate me, Ethan. I just returned the favor. We can fix this. Come back. I'll explain about Lauren, the baby. I know everything, Ethan. The offshore accounts, the debts, the divorce script. Goodbye. I hung up. I stepped out to the table. 12 pairs of eyes locked on me. Margaret shot up. How dare you ruin my jubilee? You're nobody, Emily. I learned from the best, Margaret, I said, meeting her gaze. You wanted to make me nothing. I changed the ending. William barked. This is outrageous. You'll pay for this. No, William. You'll pay. Literally. I turned to Ethan. The IRS will love your offshore accounts. Caitlin hissed. When Ethan divorces you, you'll be left with nothing. You're wrong, Caitlin. I have everything. Proof, freedom, and my company. You? Just debts and scandal. Sophia, Jacob's wife, approached me, eyes brimming with tears. Emily, please don't destroy our family. We can fix this. Sophia, I said softly. I'm not destroying your family. They destroyed me, but I'm stronger than they thought. Later that night, Margaret cornered me in the hotel lobby. Her diamonds glittered under the chandeliers, but her face was twisted with rage. You think you've won? She spat. You're nothing without us. I was someone before you, Margaret, I replied calmly. And I'll be someone after. You? Without money, you're just shadows of your past. Goodbye. I flew back to Boston the next day, booking first class with points earned from years of Westbrook events. Through the hotel concierge, I learned they paid for the dinner by pawning Margaret's diamonds. Rumors of the Westbrooks' financial troubles spread through Paris. Vendors demanded upfront payments, their reputation in tatters. My phone exploded with messages. William, our lawyers will deal with you. Caitlin, you'll regret crossing us. Margaret, I always knew you were low class. Ethan begged. Emily, we need to talk. This is bigger than us. I didn't reply, forwarding the documents to my lawyer. Back in Boston, I moved my things from our Back Bay mansion to a new South End apartment. I took only what was mine. Clothes, jewelry, my collection of Jane Austen first editions. The rest I left behind. I wanted nothing tying me to the Westbrooks. A week later, the Boston Herald ran a story. Westbrook Investment Group under investigation. The scandal snowballed. Clients abandoned them. Margaret lost seats on 3 charity boards. Lauren was spotted with a ring, her pregnancy now public knowledge. Ethan showed up at my apartment a week later, looking broken, eyes red, shirt rumpled. Come back, Emily. This has gone too far. This isn't a game, Ethan. It's a divorce. The SEC's auditing Dad's accounts. 2 board members quit. Mom canceled her gala because sponsors bailed. Is this what you wanted? I wanted the truth. You chose lies. I locked eyes with him. When's the baby due? He flinched. How did you... 4 months, right? Congrats, Ethan. I hope you're a better husband to Lauren. Emily, I loved you. His voice broke. But family? They decided for me. You made your choice, Ethan. Now I'm making mine. Get out. He left, pleading for the documents. I wouldn't use them unless they came after me. The divorce was quiet. The Westbrooks, desperate to save face, Aratsanias agreed to my terms. Starlight Events thrived. Clients valued my honesty and skill. A year later, I planned a wedding in the Loire Valley. Standing on a chateau terrace, overlooking castles and vineyards, I raised a glass to the sunset sky. I was happy, not because the Westbrooks fell, but because I found myself. The empty seat at the table showed me where I truly belonged, in a world where I write my own story. Did you like the story? Write your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next interesting story. See you tomorrow.